Good evening, everyone. My name is Robiodopio, and welcome back to another Horus, Heresy, Legions deck guide. Tonight, we've got the man, the myth, the old general, Ireton MaChade, and a Solar Auxilia deck to complement. So, the basic premise of this deck is following around the Warlord power. Give +1/+1 to your troops. If you don't control any, create a las rifle section in your hand. He also has the unique card, 15 20-second cohort. And if we go over into our collection and sort by all cards, we will see that 15 20-second cohort is 5 energy. For each enemy, put in play a random Solar Auxilia troop that costs 3 or less. That nets you a fair bit. That'll get you things like, the Auxiliary Primus. A real good card. It'll get you forward sections. Also really good cards. MaChade Orderlies. It'll get you your Ensigns. It'll get you your las rifles. Katsu Heroes. All excellent cards. All useful cards. And, more importantly, all in line with this deck. So, going down the list of important the deck list. Starting off, Defiant Stand. Give frontline to a friendly troop. If it is Solar Auxilia, also give it Survivor 1. I don't believe there's a single troop in this deck that is not Solar Auxilia. Next up, 2 energy Auxiliary Primus. Well, actually, so, Defiant Stand. Getting that Survivor 1, that's a huge thing. Especially getting frontline out of it. You can make some certain troops last so long compared to what they were meant to. Auxiliary Primus. It's a 1/2 for 2 energy, not good stats, but with the resolution, each friendly Solar Auxilia deals 1 damage to a random enemy. It is effectively the turrets from the Imperial Fists, but with reduced damage, and the trade-off, you can attack with them. And they stand to get buffed by the Warlord consistently. With his Warlord power, give +1/+1. If you don't control any, create a las rifle section in your hand. So, forward section. Rally, frontline, 1/3, gain 1 attack for each friendly Solar Auxilia troop in play. This can get pretty big. However, I usually play it when it's low energy and I have something like a las rifle section on the field, and then I play this and then I buff them both, getting a 3/4 and a 4/4 at the 4 energy turn. Underground Fort. These are the 2 troops that are not Solar Auxilia. It's a structure, 1/3 for 2 energy, fair stats, with can attack, and your Imperial Army troops cost 1 less, flat across the board. Very useful for getting all sorts of things out early. Underworld War. Enemy tactics cost 2 more until your next turn. This is useful, especially for things like you're fighting Alpha Legion, and you know you have too many cards, and the harrowing will kill you. This will buy you time. If it's something like a Conqueror from the World Eaters, this will buy you time. Something as petty as throwing a DSATS onto 7 energy, even if it doesn't stop them, making them commit their entire momentum for that turn into that card. Big payoff. So, crucial choice. Choose a legendary tactic and add it to your hand. It doesn't see much play. Whenever it's drawn, it doesn't provide that much. However, it still has a chance for massive swings. Ensign Tudon. Solar Auxilia. Rally, draw a troop. If it's Solar Auxilia, gain +1 attack and +1 health. This is very good, as all but 2 are Solar Auxilia. And even if it's not, even if you don't draw a Solar Auxilia, you now have this in your hand for a guaranteed swing around next turn. Katsuhiro, Survivor 1, 2/2, everyone's probably pretty familiar with it. Resolution, give +1 attack to another friendly Solar Auxilia troop. Soul's Garrison, give +1/+1 to your troops with front line, give +1/+1 to your Solar Auxilia troops. This stacks up pretty good, particularly in this deck. Lord Castellan, Solar Auxilia, 4 energy, choose a Solar Auxilia infantry troop that costs 5 or less and put it in play. That'll get you everything from an Auxiliary Primus all the way up to a Vexillarius or a 45th section, or even Neora Sukasen, which I do not have, and would be a very good inclusion at the 4 energy turn mark. Strategic Reserves, draw 2 infantry troops from your deck. If they are Solar Auxilia, give them +1 attack. This is universally useful, drawing 2 troops in a troop-heavy deck, and giving what will guaranteed be Solar Auxilia +1 attack. Terran Defenses, give frontline to your troops and +1/+1 to your infantry troops. It's a miniaturized... Well, you're spending for your Warlord power, and then to give frontline to everyone. It's a miniature Ornitov's Barge. Velataris, 3/4, deal 3 damage to a random non-Warlord enemy. It's okay. It's just sort of filling out, keeping this curve in its sort of shape. This isn't the best, but there's not a better replacement. Vexillarius, Solar Auxilia, Resolution, lower the cost of a Solar Auxilia troop in your hand by 1. 3/4, and dropping the cost of some of these big boys down here, or maybe even this man. Very useful, including 2 of those for that reason. 45th section. So, it's a 4/5 with frontline and an active ability, very good for its stats. It's 1 energy, deal 1 damage to 2 random enemies. Pretty good. Of course, you can't go wrong with a defense satellite. 5 energy, deal 1 to 4 damage to each enemy. It's sort of a staple of most decks, and when the card vaulting starts happening, people have to start playing around alternatives. Marcus Valerius, Solar Auxilia, Resolution, give Survivor 1 to your other Solar Auxilia troops. This is insane value, particularly if you can get and keep things alive, and keep him alive. It starts to snowball way far out of control, and lets you punch way higher than a normal Imperial Army deck would allow. Ornitov's Barge, for each enemy put in play an Imperial Army troop with frontline. It's an excellent inclusion, particularly with his special card, allowing a gigantic flood on the board of front lines, Imperial Army, and maybe even bonus Solar Auxilia, because it doesn't place an energy limit on things with frontline. So what can that include? The Massian 5th. 7 energy, 6/6, not good for its stats. However, it has an active ability and it's frontline, and it's Solar Auxilia. For 5 energy, you can put in play another copy of this troop. Another 6/6 for 5 energy. Very good trade-off. And then finally, rounding out the deck, we have the Stormhammer. It doesn't see much use. However, when it does see use, it can pull pretty hard swings. This is not something that was featured in what will be part of today's videos. However, its rally, it's a 7/12. With a rally, deal 3 damage. If the target dies, repeat this effect on another random enemy. Very useful. You can wipe entire boards with it, if you're lucky. So, some substitutions. If I ever get it, I would 100% substitute the Velataris for Neora Sukassin. Same stats, but getting that your enemy's tactics permanently cost 2 more so long as the troop is on the field is a massive advantage when playing something that is very weak to crowd control. Now, let's go into the battle log. So, out of 10 engagements today, we have 7 victories. 70% win rate, it's alright. Let's start out with messing around on... Well, actually, let's start with a defeat and go from there. Start all low note, end on a high note. So, I don't change any of the cards out here. This seems like a fairly alright curve.
They will suffer for spilling blood of my blood. Let's get...
He opens with this. This is not good. That jeopardizes everything. He has completely obliterated my ability to actually handle things. And so, smack, drop the las rifle section. Do I drop this early? Yes, I do. The 1-1 flank, this is... And I just swing there. He lands an informant network. I believe that was a top deck too. And then he gets to apply the Mark of Khorne onto this Abacal squad. Not all hope is lost yet. I can play something like a Lord Castellan, because there's no way he'll get lucky 3 turns in a row. Oh look. So we get rid of that. And then I'm trying to preserve my health because I know he can just burn down anything that I would happen to be throwing at this point. Now, I believe I give Defiant Stand. Just trying to give him something to hit. Drop the Primus, and then play the Soul's Garrison. Gets this up to a 5/5 Survivor 1. It's able to take out that, prevent it from getting any bigger. And getting in 2 damage to face. He plays an outflank. Then he stuns me again. He's scared of me. He's running. We know it. So, next up, play Underground Fort. Play 45th Section. He's drawing a card. He's searching. And then he plays a Chariot. It weakens but doesn't kill that because he's about to get another fast man onto the board. And what does he get rid of this time? He gets rid of the poor Primus. I land double Vexillarius because I know nothing at this point is getting much board staying power. And of course it only lands on the Villataris. Everything gets a mark of chaos. And at this point, this is kind of the end. The writing's on the wall for us. I guess not all is lost. Particularly if we can do something like... I really shouldn't have buffed there. However, I was really misplaying. I was kind of phoning it in at this point with the fact that it's not likely going to shape up because... Oh look, Treachery again. This feels like a mission deck, but he didn't have the mission, which is the weirdest thing of all. And that's lethal. Sons of Horus, the epitome of the just draw the cards you need Lamau style of gameplay. You already see the writing. There we go. So, out of that darkness, let's go to a victory. The most recent one against Iron Warriors. Iron Warriors are probably the best opponents you'll get for this matchup. They are nice and slow, alongside your own slowness. Starts to even things out. Evens the playing field for everyone. So, what do I land first? I don't do anything. I generate the las rifle. Next up, he plays something. He gives me the perfect target. Hit that, smack it, and then play the counterattack and take it down. He plays his first superior firepower just to get rid of that. That's an extremely painful play for him to have to make, particularly when he sees the next turn. The auxiliary Primus goes down. The forward section goes down. It gets buffed, and then we wait. Oh, no, we swing face. Unfortunately, he is not so lucky with his drawing, but he does manage to use the 5th support to get rid of his opponents. We give that front line, and then I believe we swing face. Front line Survivor 1 is very useful. Awless Scaramanca, when you put in play a vehicle with siege, load it. Also quite useful. So we're playing strategic reserves, getting as many troops as I can queued, but not out. Stuff keeps hitting face. That's now down to single energy. He plays a Rack and Ruin to get rid of my Primus. He is desperate. Clinging on to all those scraps of hope. Huh. How wacky and unusual. Then we play that. Then I believe we drop the Primus and buff the board. We swing into his Aulus Scaramanca and let the lasers do the rest. He gets out a Seek and Destroy. That's rather lucky. Then he plays himself a Legion Medusa and he loads it Siege. We get down the Neora Sukas, and such a good card to get from this Lord Castellan. Enemy Tactics cost 2 more until your next turn, doubling down. So now, if he wants to play something like a Viral Bomb, that's a full send on that Viral Bomb. But he instead plays the Sikaran, 2317, and takes down the Vexillarius. Although at this point I believe is where he resigns? Yes. And let's see, which other one should I showcase? Do I still have the pinned one at the bottom? Yes. If this one still is holding itself together, just barely, this is an older variant of the deck where I had substituted the defense satellites for Kaizu Lane, which is not the best trade. I really needed to have that or D-sats to hold my own on swarms. So this is a very old deck. It doesn't have, well, it has everything that prior deck does, except for crowd control. Now that's not so necessary against the Alpha Legionary, who I don't know, their warlord at the time. They just completed the Battle of Pluto too. So it's anyone's game. Armillus Dynat starting it off, hitting him with the stun, making me go on the offensive once more. Here I believe, strategic reserves, alright. Getting more and more out there. Probably going to land a 45th next turn, if he doesn't do something wacky and unusual like Flood. Ooh, the 45th is looking more and more useful, if only to prevent damage to face. But it's the Velataris who takes the field. He swings face with that. And with that, this is shaping up to be... Oh, I play that this turn. And then I play Defiant Stand on this man. Makes sense. Now, the thing that he's so scared about is super buff. He plays a D-Sats against me. That's a pretty good roll.
What would she have done in my place?
And I realized that was a pretty good roll. So what do I do this time? I get creative. Oh yeah. And then I play under... Oh, nope, I buff. I apologize. This will be a game where Crucial Choice comes in clutch, if memory serves me correctly. Although it wouldn't have necessarily come in clutch, it was just how I finished them. And he's seriously a tactic-heavy deck. Oh no. Now we play Underworld War, prevent anything from getting too unusual. He gets off a... Who even plays Breach anymore? That's something that I don't see except for during like the introductory campaign. It's an ancient thing, but it was working for him. He had to keep me from doing stuff, and he just gets lucky. So, I believe now I play the barge and I buff. Yep. He gets off his mission. And so it's already shaping up like this long game he will win. So he takes down the 4 Stogrons, and then he takes down the underground fort with a frag grenade, or a crack grenade. One of many, he becomes another Alpha Legionnaire. He's back up to 23. He has regained his advantage against, or he has furthered his advantage against me. But I start drawing cards. We land the underground fort, and then I believe we land the 45th. And then we play a Souls Garrison. Just getting a double buff onto that nice and early. Make it to where he really has to burn through that to actually get any value. Now, he's making us draw cards. I've drawn into Crucial Choice. The Alpha Legionnaire has become an Alpha Legionnaire. Impossible.
Is coming.
Hey, it's Archamus Dynat again. Who are you stunning this time? Probably that guy. Unfortunately, I have activated his trap cards. More drawing. More drawing. More drawing. Unfortunately, what he doesn't know is, I get the Great Tithe. So, even if all else fails, I have something that he can't get through fast enough.
Do not think me too old for this. You'll regret it.
He's bringing me awful low. And he's playing Ingo Peck now. He's not gotten really good warlords out of this. If he'd gotten something like an Exodus, he'd be in serious danger. Or I'd be in serious danger. What's next this turn? Hydra Dominatus. There goes my Massian. Then we play the Great Tithe, and we finish him off. Just showing we had lethal in hand as well as on board. So, big takeaways about this deck. Main man is the Auxiliary Primus. He is the Carnifex that everyone wants to swing at. Him and the Vexillarius. Both of them provide great value. They're probably the best value providers in the deck currently. Once I get Neoris Ukassin, that will change. And then everything else kind of centers around those two and the old general. That concludes today's Horus Heresy Legions video. Make sure to like, comment if you liked, or just I'll leave a dislike button or something in the comments, and you can leave a comment wise to there. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Have a wonderful evening.